Hi, this is Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com, the podcast and website about reimagining your life. Thanks for joining me tonight to talk about some of the ways to realize all of your talents. So let's get started. If you like what you hear tonight, please leave a like and tell your friends and send me a message. So, 2 weeks ago, and actually before I start, I just want to say that the reason I'm smiling is just I had a lot of time today because I was well prepared, and so I decided to go for a quick walk and ran into some of my neighbors who I like a lot. He's actually 89, very very active, just awesome cute couple, and ended up talking to them for an hour and a half. And so here I thought I had all this time for the evening. I was almost late for this, and it plays into some of the stuff we're going to talk about. But I'd encourage you, hopefully you live in a sort of place where you have neighbors that you want to meet and you can. And if that is the case, I would encourage you at some point, take a moment, go out for a walk. If you see somebody, start talking to them, and maybe you can actually have, like I did, just a lovely hour and a half catching up with people who you've known for a long time or maybe just met, and but are good friends or will be good friends at some point in the future. So that was my little sideline. I just want to say that it really it made the whole day a lot nicer and ended on an extremely good note. So, but back to the regular programming. So 2 weeks ago, on June 13th of 2023, that episode, we talked about focusing on the 80% of our lives where we likely aren't operating in our areas of highest productivity, shall we say, and how we should try to spend more time, one way or another, doing the things that we're really great at. So I mentioned things like bartering with friends so that both of us get to take advantage of the other person's special talents. Using the example of somebody like organizing your house and life while you gave their kids piano lessons, right? A win-win. So I also mentioned that starting an online business or like teaching other people about something you're really passionate about is another option that you have. And it was that last thing I wanted to talk about tonight, how to start an online business or even just any sort of business with nothing more than what you already know. And when people think about that, of starting a business of any sort, and particularly an online business, probably one of the first things they think about is some Facebook or YouTube ad of some young dude or dudette, leaning on their fancy sports car saying, sign up for my course and see how you can live like this working only 4 hours a week. Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. The reality is any good business is going to take some work, and you probably won't get fabulously wealthy within a year. You might be the exception, and I knew a few personally. I'm just fortunate in some of the courses that I take to meet people who have done amazing things in a year or two. But I assure you, they earned every penny of their income. It only looks easy once you're successful. But very many people do make reasonable extra money working in online businesses of many types. The key to success, like any business or job, is to do what interests you and what you're really passionate about. Now, you might be saying, yeah, well, but Jim, I have no special talents. And that's probably just your humility going a little bit overboard. Because remember, we talked before about once you get really good at something, it becomes so transparent to us that we often forget either about how difficult it was for us to get good at it, or we don't realize how difficult it may be for other people. But even more importantly, a skill doesn't have to be world changing to have value to others. Taken in its absolute simplest terms, Marie Kondo, right, the organization person, made a literal fortune by simply tidying up. But it was what a society awash in things needed at that moment. And she provided a simple method for people to get rid of clutter out of their lives. So I'd encourage you to reevaluate what you like to do, things that you're good at, and then think about comments you may have heard from other people that perhaps you just dismissed as somebody kind of being polite. Did someone say something like, I wish I could make my dinner table look that inviting, or I'm always amazed at how well you organize a meeting, and any of the other multitude of similar comments that people make? Those are hints that may guide you to realizing that your superpowers is something that others might find valuable. I've mentioned before that one of the programs I participate in is James Wedmore's Business by Design. It's a course and mentoring group, and it's called BBD for short. One of the people in the cohort that's just starting up recently posted that she's starting an online course on how to can things from your garden. I used to know someone who was an avid canner, all the way from, hot water canning of tomatoes, which is kind of sort of canning 101, to pressure canning things like meats and stuff that really take a lot of experience and care and consistency to do. I can tell you two things from personal experience. One, there are an endless number of online and offline resources for getting canning information, from books to classes, no matter what it is, and no matter what you can imagine, there's a ton of it there. And two, none of it gives you any confidence compared to working in person or with guidance from someone who can say, that rim isn't spotlessly clean, and so you'll likely will have a spoilage if you don't try and get it to seal, before you fix that. It's that immediate feedback, that that personalized attention is what brings confidence. And so a book can say the jar must be very clean, but until you can experience it, it's hard to understand what they're talking about. It's very hard to be confident. So I wasn't shocked when I saw that this person in BBD was starting an online course at the request of many people who have heard about her in-person courses. If she's able to take advantage of technology and actually work with the people while they're canning, I'm sure she'll be a success. When people are new to something, especially something as important as health and food, it's very difficult to become confident without some real-time feedback on what you're doing to make sure it's correct. But back to our example, her name is Allison, she could have said, everybody can can food, or even more commonly, there are already so many resources for someone who wants to learn to can it. It's no point in me even starting. But happily, she realized that her passion and her knowledge made her different, and that there will be people who are drawn to her and to her methods. And so she has something to share with others that others will value. The other person is a woman. Her name is Brianna, who tried to return to work after her first child and decided that was not how she wanted to raise her family. She went on to form a community of like-minded moms and is now offering support and training on how stay-at-home moms can continue to work in their fields as virtual assistants, also known as VAs. This is another field with tons of information available, whole websites dedicated towards that approach, teaching it, helping people get jobs, all that stuff. Yet they weren't Brianna and they didn't have her approach. And so she too is finding success. Again, think about what it is that you do and that you're good at and passionate about. There almost for certain are other people who'd be thrilled to learn from you. And before you even think that this next thing, age is no excuse. One of these people is fairly young. A third person I didn't talk about, Colleen, who is just starting a regular motivational podcast. She's a classmate of mine. So there's no excuse. Age is no reason. You have the talent. And so the only thing you need now is confidence. So you might be asking, why would I do something like this? Well, there are many reasons. You could just do it to share your knowledge to make the world a better place. There's a movie star who created a whole channel about doing small plot gardening for inner city residents so that they can get fresh organic veggies at a reasonable price by growing them themselves. And they also learn new skills and they learn independence at the same time. This nets this person essentially zero money, but they do it so that they can share their knowledge to make the world nicer. You could do it to earn some extra money, or perhaps even necessary money. You don't have to be working like a fool to try, buy a private airplane or whatever, if all you want is maybe some extra money for a nice dinner sometimes. And as always, the place to start is by defining what your vision is for your life. Then what goals will get you there, and realizing that this may be one more tool available to help you reach your goals. What I really wanted to show you tonight, though, is that you really do have talents and skills that others would find valuable. And this is a great gift that gives you more options. It's very self-motivating on many levels, not the least of which is you're learning new skills, which is good for your self-esteem and overall health. But in addition, you're meeting new people, which I find is always uplifting and educational in many ways. You saw how happy I was when I started the podcast. That was just by meeting people who I took a chance on talking to when I first moved in the neighborhood. We've been friends for a long time now. And if you do decide to work online, you might be meeting people from all over the world. How fun would that be? You can learn about all different cultures right from your own home. So that's it for the week. I'd encourage you to think about what you like to do and what either you know or suspect and others would find impressive about you. It could be a little talent or something large and obvious, but don't minimize the greatness that lives within us all. Your homework, optional as always, is to think about some things people have complimented you on or said how they could never do that. I couldn't ever do what you do, and recognize then some of your talents and skills. And bonus points if you then think about how you could teach one of those things to someone else, either in person or online. So that's it for the evening. Just wanted to focus on one point tonight and finish up a topic we had started a couple of weeks ago. Thank you so very much. Please remember the war in Ukraine going on, and just, every time I say is going on, it's kind of like it's just going on and just continuing, not in a, how to say this, a subtle sort of way. These are people that are doing things like in this particular season, having high school graduations in bomb shelters. So I would hope that they stay in your minds. And if you get the chance, UKR7 is the page with the donation links. Please think about giving to them. If you don't want to give to Ukraine, there are lots of other places. World Central Kitchen is there. They help. They're a humanitarian organization. They provide food to people in need, active all throughout the world. Remember, one of the best ways to care for yourself is to care for others. So if you can, you're able, please try and make a donation, do something to help somebody else, because once you live outside of yourself and into somebody else, it changes your attitude on the world and really makes you a much more open and empathetic person. So I hope you find it in your time and heart that you can do something to help somebody else in need. Remember, as always, I can't say it too many times, one of the best ways to care for yourself and really open your vision of the world is to care for others. So that's it. As always, thank you for stopping by. If you found something interesting and useful, please pass it along and please hit that like button. If not, please drop me a comment as to what you'd like to hear. Have a great week. Remember to live the life that you dreamed of, because that's the path to true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone. See you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thank you.